Hello and welcome back to the Sideboard. I'm Ruben Bressler and I'm joined by Taylor Scott, who has a deck that I have called Gnawsome. Tell us a little bit about Gnawsome.
I mean, I like to call it Standard Dredge sometimes.
Okay.
I'm trying to flip my deck over as quickly as possible.
Sure.
I have Grizzly Salvage, Mulch, Forbidden Alchemy to help that out a lot. Huntmaster, Thragtusk just gums up the board, gains me some life. Gnaw to the Bone gains me a million life,
right,
approximately.
And so that's the main engine of the deck, is this is a Gnaw to the Bone deck.
I mean, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And in order to get there, you've got lots of ways to flip your library face up. You've also got an Nephalia Drownyard, which also functions as the main win condition a lot of the time.
As sad as that sounds, yes.
Yeah. I think Shaheen Sarani likes that win condition.
There you go.
He's a big fan of a Drownyard. So briefly explain to the folks at home what the end game combo is. Once we've turned our library face up.
I mean, okay, so we have no library left. It's our upkeep. Our opponent's like, well, clearly you're going to die now. Well, I just casually flash back this memories journey to shuffle this Runic Repetition back in my deck. I draw the Runic Repetition for my turn. I return the memories journey to my hand. I do that forever and ever.
And you can also bring in a Gnaw to the Bone, because the memories journey can just get cast once and then flash back.
Yeah.
So you can bring back a Gnaw to the Bone to gain 30 or whatever.
Usually 30.
And you can just keep going.
Pretty much.
So yeah, there you go. And now it's usually 30 because you've got 15 creatures? Typically, yeah, 15 creatures. I saw these over here and thought they were creatures for a second, but these are not creatures. These are Blasphemous Acts. You've got 4 of those main deck. Why did you choose Blasphemous Act as your sleeper of choice?
It kills everything.
Sure.
I mean, Rolling Tumbler helps in the early game, but people are playing Thragtusk and Olivias and all this big stuff, and
sure.
I need something that just murders
kills
everything,
it dead. Sure.
So I don't die.
Fair enough. All right, so that's the main game plan. Game 1, we're sort of a combo deck. After sideboard, we've got answers to pretty much everything.
Pretty much, yeah.
We've got 8 cards that say name a card.
I like naming cards.
There you go. So we've got Slaughter Games and we've got Pithing Needle. Are those for similar problems, or do they answer different things?
They're kind of back and forth. Pithing Needle is mainly for Planeswalkers.
Okay.
People can kill me with Jace Architect of Thought. Like, oh,
sure.
Ultimate Jace. I'll search for your Runic Repetition. It's an exile.
Right.
Forever.
Slaughter
Games usually names counterspells.
Sure.
I am pretty much dead to resolve counterspell.
Because if they sandbag a late game counterspell and get your Runic Repetition, right.
I'm done.
Sure. And so your Slaughter Games is typically naming answers like counterspells or Rest in Peace, things like that, whereas the Pithing Needles are more to answer not ways to ruin you, just things that are good against you.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. And you've also got Pillar of Flames on the sideboard,
Zombies.
And then Naturalize, of course, to deal with Rest in Peace and things like that.
Yeah.
So, talk to me a little bit about the matchups. You gain a lot of life in this deck. So, is aggro the better matchup?
Most dedicated aggro decks I'm pretty good against. The black-green zombies list, or either zombies, just really kind of a little rough. The green one has Lawless Troll, which is very hard for me to kill.
Sure.
And the red one has Falkenrath Aristocrat, which also is hard for me to kill.
Sure.
But I can usually squeak it out if I just make good blocks and bide my time and have a timely board sweep.
Yeah. And zombies is losing popularity in recent weeks.
Yeah, I didn't see it at all today.
Yeah, so. It hasn't been putting up the results, so less people have been playing against or playing with it. So, what about control?
If they're playing counterspells, game 1,
it's bad for you.
It's probably bad. Depending
on
the
control decks aren't really running that many counterspells.
Right. Yeah, which is really good for me.
Right. They're more worried about the board control aspects. The blue-white-red tempo deck has been picking up in popularity, so they want to get rid of things like Geist of St. Traft. So there's more Supreme Verdicts walking around. So where did you get the idea for this deck?
I read an article Patrick Chapin wrote. He was doing a set review for Return to Ravnica.
Oh, okay.
And he had this list. He was excited about Grizzly Salvage. And so he had this list. It had Tracker's Instincts and Ghoul Trees in it. And Keswick Wolfrun as the alternate win condition with Laboratory Maniac. And I really liked it. It seemed completely sweet. So I just changed some cards.
Sure.
And made it a little towards my playstyle.
Nice.
And here it is.
Yeah. So in the future, if people wanted to play this deck, and this looks like the perfect F&M deck, like you just go in hoping to just ruin people's day.
I've already done that. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds. Yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing you want to do with this deck. So what would you change?
Right now I'm considering, or definitely taking out one Knot of the Bone and one Blasphemous Act for a Psychic Spiral and a Slaughter Games main deck to help the game 1 matchup against the control decks sometimes.
Sure, so you can like snapcast a Slaughter Games if you flip it over.
At the very least, yeah.
Sure. And the Psychic Spiral is just a good way to actually kill them.
Yeah, I mean, just see all these cards? Well, you mill that many.
Right. And you get to rebuy your Thrag Tusks and things like that. Well, This deck looks awesome. Thank you for joining me in the sideboard.
Yeah, thank you.